Hey everyone, today's lesson is on equations as functions. So our last lesson we talked about just the simplicity of functions, one x value to one y value. Today we're going to actually plug in numbers into equations. So a function can be represented by an equation. The equation will generate ordered pairs. By taking an input, which is our x value, that results in a certain output, which is our y value. The x value is always called the independent variable. So if x value is independent, then y value is dependent, which makes sense because if I'm plugging something into the equation to get y, y is dependent on whatever I'm plugging in. And then the graph of an equation is its set of ordered pairs, which is often formed by either a line or a curve. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in, so I'm plugging in all of my x values into my equation. So just a simple x plus 7, plug in -1 plus 7 gives me 6. So my ordered pair is -1, 6. Plug in 0, 0 plus 7 gives me 7. Ordered pair is my x value, 0, whatever I got as my answer, 7. Plug in 2, 2 plus 7 gives me 9. My x value, what I plugged in is 2, my answer is 9. Plug in 4, 4 plus 7 gives me 11. Plugged in 4, got 11. Pretty simple, I hope. Doing the same thing, plugging in these into my equation. So 3 minus 13 gives me -10. So I have 3, -10. Plugging in 6, 6 minus 13 gives me -7. I plugged in 6, I got -7. Plugging in 9, 9 minus 13 gives me -4. Plug in 12, 12 minus 13 gives me -1. All right, looking at number 3, I have 1 minus -5. When I have a negative number that I'm inputting, especially after the negative sign, I'm going to put it in parentheses. I can go ahead and just put this in my calculator, or I know that a negative and a negative make a positive, so 1 plus 5 gives me 6. Do the same thing with this -4. I'm going to use parentheses around the -4. 1 plus 4 gives me 5. Same thing with the -3, putting it in parentheses. So 1 plus 3 gives me 4. For the last one, -2. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. All right, I for sure am going to use parentheses whenever my equation has a whenever I'm multiplying anything. So 2, and then I'm using parentheses -7. Once again, you can just plug this into your calculator all at the same time. I'm going to get -7, 2, and then I'm going to use parentheses. I'm going to get -3. plugging in 5, so 2, 5 minus 7, I'm going to get 3. Then plug in 8, I'm going to get 9, so 8 comma 9. I'm going to do the same thing with number 5, even though it's a fraction. I'm still multiplying. I'm going to get negative 12. When I plug in negative 2, I'm going to get negative 10. When I plug in a 0, I'm going to get negative 9. Then when I plug in a 14, I'm going to get negative 2. Same idea for number 6. Just use parentheses when I'm plugging in. I'm going to get 23. Plug in the negative 3. I'm going to get 15. Plug in the 3. I'm going to get 7. And then plug in a 6. I'm going to get 3. All right, if I flip over my page looking at 7, so I have the function. Function is just your equation, and a domain. I'm going to find the range. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm plugging in the 4, I plug in the 6, I'm going to plug in the 8. So again, domain is my input, or what I plug in. So I'm going to get y equals 4 minus 5. I'm going to get negative 1. I'm going to have y equals, now I'm plugging in a 6 minus 5. I get a positive 1. Do the same thing with 8. 8 minus 5, where I get a positive 3. Same idea, domain, these are the 3 numbers that I plug in. So I have 3 times negative 1 plus 1. That's going to give me negative 2. Three times 0 plus 1 is going to give me 1. 3 times 1 plus 1 is going to give me 4. Same idea for number 9. Plugging in. So negative 2 times negative 2 plus 5 gives me 9. Negative 2 times 2 plus 5 gives me 1. Negative 2 times 4 plus 5 gives me negative 3. 3 more that I'm plugging into this function. So I have negative 4 minus negative 6. And that's going to give me 2. I have negative 4 minus 2. That's going to give me negative 6. And then negative 4 minus 7 That gives me negative 11. Hopefully by just plugging in um, numbers into an equation or into a function is hopefully easy. All right, so we are going to just kind of put everything together. We are plugging in this negative 7 into my equation. So I have negative 7 plus 3, and that gives me negative 4. So I have negative 7, negative 4. Eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot these points onto my graph. Plugging in negative 3 plus 3 gives me 0. Plugging in 0, I get negative 3. Plugging in 2, gives me 5. Then plugging in 5 gives me 8. So we're going to go ahead and plot these points. So negative 7, I'm going to go to the left 7, down 4. Going negative 3 to the left 3, not moving any. It's going to be on my axis. Going should be a positive 3. So going over 0, then plus up 3, over 2, up 5, over 5, up 8. Right, from here, I'm going to just connect my points. It's a straight line. All right, plugging in. When I have anything squared, again, I'm plugging in using parentheses. So negative 3 squared is the same as saying negative 3 times negative 3, which gives me 9. Use parentheses, especially when you are putting it in your calculator. Negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, gives me 4. Plugging in 0, 0 squared is 0. Plugging in 2, 2 squared, 4. Plugging in 3, 3 squared is 9. So once again, I'm going to just graph these points. So going to the left 3, up 9. To the left 2, up 4. 0, 0, and then to the right 2, up 4. To the right 3, up 9. When I connect these, I'm going to get a curve. So the first equation, the one that we just did, produced a line. So it's called a linear equation. Second, produced a curve. Whenever it produces a curve, it's called a quadratic equation. We are only focusing on linear equations this unit. But if you have any questions, let me know.